Hey dudes, Double Eagle sent me one of their Honey Badger M904 Airsoft guns for free, and today we're going to check it out. Alright, let's open it up. So here's what it looks like in the packaging. We get an unjamming rod. We get a second spring. So this is probably one of their Japanese versions, and the Japanese versions use a lower FPS, so they use a weaker spring. I'm not sure which one is loaded in here. Probably the Japanese one. And this is probably a heavier spring for the US and European markets. Looks like we get a mid-cap mag. We get a box of accessories. This looks like an orange flash hider for the gun. This is an adapter and it has Dean's on one side and Tamiya on the other, and most likely this airsoft gun is a Dean's type of adapter for the battery, and so if you want to use the Tamiya connector, they have it here. So that's very cool. This looks like some little tool to take the gun apart, and a hex key. And then it looks like it gives you some shrink wrap and another type of Dean's connector. So maybe if you want to do some conversion with your battery cable, that's what you have here. All right, so let's take a look at the gun. It's pretty heavy for this size. So I guess the upper receiver is metal. This part right here, the lower receiver is plastic. The grip is also plastic or polymer. Probably has a metal trigger. This outer barrel here feels polymer. And it does already have an orange flash hider, so I'm not really sure what the other previous orange thing was. It feels like part of the stock is metal and maybe just the end here is polymer. It feels like a well-built gun. It's a little loose here, but that's because the stock is extendable. But overall, I think this is a well-built gun. You have a button on each side of the stock, and you have to push both, and then the stock pops out like that. And then you have one level. Oh, you can pull it all the way out. And while we're here, while you pull the whole thing out, it's probably, you push a little button on top and you're probably going to access the battery compartment here. Yeah, you push this little button on the top of here, and that takes this off. And here's your battery cable, and it is a Dean's connector. All right, so you have a 3-position stock all the way in, here, and here. And that's pretty tight and snug, and I kind of like that. On top, you've got one long Picatinny rail, and then you've got M-LOK on the side here and on the bottom and on the other side. You've got a rear sight here, and it's a flip-up polymer rear sight. And then you have a flip-up polymer front sight. The selector switch is ambidextrous, here and here. On this side, here's your mag release. Here is your charging handle, and most likely when you pull it back, it will open the dust cover, which it does. And to access your hop-up, you're gonna have to hold the charging handle back. If you want to close the dust cover, you've got to do it manually. Like that. You have a sling mount here, and that's about it for this gun. Let's check out the mag. So the mag fits pretty good. If I hold it, you can release it by gravity. Maybe with a little bit of a twist or turn. Oh, that's pretty close. Probably after I use it a few times, even just like that, it falls out on its own. The mag is polymer. The rear sight does have an adjustment for windage, and you can use it with a large aperture or a small aperture. And then the front sight post, you can raise it up or down. Okay dudes, let me show you how to use the programmable gearbox. You put it in safe mode, and then you hold the trigger down for 3 seconds and you should hear 3 beeps. So like this. And actually, before I do that, after you get the 3 beeps, if you press it once, you can adjust or program the burst mode. If you do it twice, then you program the sensitivity of the trigger. And then if you press it 3 times, then what you're going to do is program the I can't remember what it's called, but when you the press and release fire. So let's go back to safe. And let's hold it, and hopefully you can hear it beep 3 times. Okay, that's 3 times. Then I press it once. And now I'm going to press it for how many bursts I want. So I want a 3-round burst. And that's a 3-round burst. So now when I switch it to auto, it should shoot in a 3-round burst. See? So that's pretty cool. It's already set to the lightest sensitivity, and that's very light. I mean, I'm barely touching it, and it does that. So now let's go ahead and set it to the other mode, the press and release mode. So I'm going to press it 3 times. I mean, I'm going to press it and hold it for 3 beeps. That's 3, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and a beep 3 times. Now I'm going to press it once, and hopefully that'll put us in the single shot press and release. I moved it to single shot. I press, and I release. Press, release, and that is awesome. Because if you're in a place that they don't allow full auto, you can just, you can almost have full auto by doing this. Especially if you have it on sensitive mode. I mean, that's pretty close to full auto, dudes. I think if you put it on safe and hold it at least continuously, and it gives a continuous beep, or for 5 beeps, then it'll go back to default. So let's try. Whoops. And that should be it. So let's check our full auto. And yep, it's not on 3-round burst. And let's check this. And then I release. And that is it. So let's back to full auto. In case you're wondering, I'm using an 11.1 LiPo, and I think that's what it takes. And the one that I put in here is a little bit too long, so I can't, you know, close this all the way. So make sure when you get one that's the right dimensions. Okay, bros, let's go ahead and chrono this. I'm using 20-gram BBs, and that's because that's basically the standard BB weight that most people use. So let's see what we get. 306, 303.1, 303.7, 303.7, 304.8, 304.8, 305.9, 303.7, 304.8, and 305.3. The high was 306.5, the low was 303.1, and the average is 304.6, which is pretty good. It's around 300, but a little bit better. All right, dudes, I'm about 60 feet away from these Evite can targets, so let's take some shots and see how this gun performs. Now I'm going to shoot it in full auto. All right, dudes, now I'm close to 80 feet away, so let's see how this gun performs. I want to mention that I didn't adjust the sights. I was just using the gun as is out of the box. It was pulling to the side just a little bit, so I just adjusted my shooting to compensate. Here's shooting it in full auto. Here is an example of how fast you can shoot it in the press and release mode. For those of you that are wondering, some of the shots I got in the video were used from this camera mounted to the front of this airsoft gun. What I did is I just moved the front side back and then slid this on to the front. Overall, I think this is a really good airsoft gun. I'm pleased with it. I really like the programmable aspect of it. And my favorite part is how you can press and release fire. As I showed you earlier, the FPS was around 300. I didn't put in the other spring, but if I did, I'm hoping that that would be the one used for the US and the UK or European market. And so maybe with that spring, we would get 350 or more. At 300, this gun is perfect for CQB, either indoor or outdoor. Your range is more than enough adequate for indoor, and for outdoor, do well too. It's not going to give you sniper range, but you're probably going to get, pretty decent, even at 300 FPS. And this gun is short, so if you're going to be playing CQB, you can have something that you can move, in and out tight spaces quickly. If you like shorter guns like this, then I definitely recommend this gun for you. It came with a mid cap. I personally like high cap mags. I may be one of the few people who do. I just don't like to reload that often, so that's why I like it. I know when you have one, you got a lot of shaking around of the BBs and people can hear you. But I don't think that's a big deal. So overall, I think this is a really good gun and I recommend it. It's shout out time. The first shout out goes to CST. The next shout out goes to W's Nerf Films. The next shout out goes to Lily Taylor. The next shout out goes to GNZ's World. The next shout out goes to Frankie Garcia. The next shout out goes to Click on Me and You Won't Regret It. The next shout out goes to Edre and Piggy. The next shout out goes to Big Sexy. The next shout out goes to Ronaldo Flores. The next shout out goes to 2 of 4 Plays. The next shout out goes to Jeremiah Castro with the Nerf Rival Charger. The next shout out goes to Great Music Group. The next shout out goes to Tyler Abrahams. The next shout out goes to King Kong Gaming. The next shout out goes to Fish Keecher. The next shout out goes to Drago Craft X. The next shout out goes to Waffle Diz. The next shout out goes to Eliel Ortiz. The next shout out goes to 13 Francis 10. The next shout out goes to AHC Crafts. The next shout out goes to Chrisanne Richards. The next shout out goes to Dalton Dog 737. The next shout out goes to The Tactical Kid. The next shout out goes to Dylan Baxter. Hey bros, if you want a shout out, then go to the community tab on our channel and go to the most recent post and type, I want a shout out. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell. Be happy, peace out.